Mark, good afternoon. We're here today because of the Aerolínea Lansha Flight 018 crash that occurred on March 17th, 2025. Could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Mark Pierce. I'm an attorney at DJC Law.
And what type of specialization do you have here at DJC Law?
I'm an aviation attorney representing families and people that have been injured in crashes.
Could you tell us generally what happened in Roatan, Honduras yesterday?
Airplane, it's a twin engine jet stream, normally a very reliable airplane. This was an older one, though, with Garrett engines on it. Could be a factor. It took off on runway, kind of headed eastbound, made a right turn and crashed just right off the runway, maybe 1,000 meters or so away from where it took off. A very unusual circumstance.
Reports indicate that there were 18 occupants on board. 15 of them were passengers and 3 crew. It seems that there were survivors. Does that provide you with any information that might be helpful?
Well, sure. As a pilot, commercial pilots are trained to deal with emergency situations. And if an airplane is totally uncontrollable and it lands in the ocean, typically it's fatalities. The fact that there were 5 survivors suggests the pilot had some amount of control of the airplane. Could have been rough water, could have been some asymmetric configuration of the airplane that allowed the pilot to not land it smooth, like Sully did in the Hudson River incident several years ago. It looked like the pilot may have been trying to do a water ditch and just couldn't pull it off.
Now, you mentioned this was a British Aerospace Jetstream 32 with Garrett engines on it. Have the Garrett engines had any types of issues in the past?
Past they have, and they do have one particular quirk that I'm sure will be looked at in the investigation. After every flight, the propeller is supposed to be rotated. It's an unusual feature of that engine that it has to cool off, and that turning of the propeller by the pilot or some other crew member will keep an internal part from bending, because if that happens and that's not done, it leaves a chance that engine will seize up on the next flight, and seizing up means fail.
Given that this accident occurred in Honduras off of the coast on the island of Roatan, what type of investigative procedure will occur and which agencies will be involved?
It's possible that the Honduras authorities would ask the FAA or the National Transportation Safety Board to assist. Internationally, they frequently do that because of the expertise here in the United States, but the air authorities in Honduras will take the lead, certainly. It was an airline based there. It was flying from point to point within the country. So that's going to be the lead on the investigation.
If one of the families of the victims or one of the survivors was interested in hiring us or hiring you as an aviation accident attorney, what type of work can you do for the client? How can you help the client?
Obviously, this is horribly tragic. These families are caught off guard. They're in shock, grieving. And so it's really hard to know what to do. When they call us or any aviation attorney, they can expect or should expect, first of all, an acknowledgement of what they've been through, and then to help guide them through a process, which can be very challenging because the airline will be looked at for their safety procedures, their policies, the pilot's credentials, experience, training, health will be looked at. The weather doesn't appear to be a factor, but investigators look at all aspects of the flight. The air traffic control, communications, and all those things have to be examined. And then what we find is that it is sometimes difficult to get the responsible parties to accept accountability. And so we have to fight for that. And the families are caught off guard by that. They think something went wrong. It's obvious that we should be compensated or at least recognized for our loss. And often we have to go as far as sometimes a jury trial to get someone to point the finger at who messed this up and who caused this, what's going to be done about it.